Welcome. I'm Bonny Bentzin, Deputy Chief Sustainability Officer in UCLA's Sustainability Office, our central office. I'm your MC for the day. And welcome to our Climate Day of Action, which I think the last month alone has just really proven its importance and value of this topic. So I will first want to take tip my hat to all of you. I think we can call you climate warriors for braving the rain this morning and the drive in. So I don't know how far y'all had to come, but I had a harrowing drive from Ventura. So thank you for braving that rain, and I'm sure we'll continue to collect more of our participants as we go. I'd also like to kick off by welcoming Sherwin Shamil. I'm sorry, I just butchered your last name. Who is a senior field representative from Rick Chavez-Zabor's office, assembly member for the 51st District. So thank you for, again, being a climate warrior and braving the wet roads for LA. So thank you. All right, so we're gonna get right on rolling because we've got a great day planned, and I'll start off by introducing Amir Naiberg, who will be officially opening, I'm just the soft opening, for the event, and he's our Associate Vice Chancellor, CEO, and President of UCLA Technology Development Group. So, the stage is yours, Amir.
Thank you very much, Bonnie, for the kind introduction, and thank you everyone for joining us for this very important event. As Bonnie mentioned, this event is very timely. We're here to celebrate groundbreaking work related to climate change and how it impacts everybody's lives and the way to change it for the better. First and foremost, I would like to extend a warm welcome to our guests from Office of the President, Nick Anthis and Vanity Campbell. They are from the Special Initiative group at OP, and their leadership kind of brought this program alive. So thank you for coming, and thank you for leadership in making this dream a reality. Thank you so much. We also need to recognize the importance of the California legislator. The money that supports all the science that you'll see here today came from our legislator, and their recognition that academia can make a difference in the real world is very important to us. Especially when you think about what our mission is at TDG. Our mission at TDG is to take this amazing science done at UCLA and help our faculty transform it into real-life innovation and technologies that change lives. We're often stuck in this process by lack of funding, where amazing science and traditional ways to support science but it's still not mature enough to become a financeable opportunity. Hence, the Climate Action Fund came in at that exactly right time to make a difference and invest money in these technologies to bring them one step closer to the market. And today, you'll hear from 4 amazing groups that made their journey and are now closer than ever before to become a startup company or be licensed to a local entity here in California, and will make everybody's lives better in the near future. We have an amazing lineup of speakers today. I want to thank all of them, from faculty to investors, from industry activists to, how do you call them, Bonnie? Climate warriors that were able to master the rain and navigate through LA traffic and be here today. Please take advantage of this conference as far as networking and talking to one another. As we know, this is where the magic happens, in that interaction between individuals, en masse, and trying to make a change for the better. With that, I'm happy to call to the stage our first speaker, Nick Anthis. Nick is a Senior Program Officer for Special Initiatives in the University of California Office of the President. Nick will provide us with valuable background on the UC Climate Action Award, which has funded transformative research we'll see today. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you very much. And thanks for the invitation. It's a real pleasure to be here. It's actually my first time on the UCLA campus, so hopefully the weather won't be too bad and I'll actually get out and explore. It's really a beautiful campus. My name's Nick. I'm the Senior Program Officer for Special Initiatives at the Research Grants Program Office at UC Office of the President. I'll explain a little bit more about how this all fits into today's meeting. Also, want to recognize my colleague Vanity Campbell, who together we manage this climate action initiative that is what brought us here today. And so this event today is the culmination of a Climate Action Innovation and Entrepreneurship Award to UCLA that was made in 2023. So I'm here to give you a little bit more background on this Climate Action Initiative and this award is part of, and let you know about some of the other work that's going on across the state as part of this initiative too. So first I'll give you a little bit of background and then talk through actually give you some examples of the work that we funded and what people are doing. So the Climate Action Initiative is administered by the Research Grants Program Office, or RGPO. So RGPO is part of the UC Office of the President. It's, RGPO is a leader in grant making for the state of California. There's 8 active funding programs across a wide range of areas, and over about $100 million a year goes out in funding, and a lot of that's to UC, but also to other universities and other organizations across the state as well. And so RGPO is part of the Office of Research and Innovation at UC Office of the President. So that's led by Vice President Teresa Maldonado. And VP Maldonado actually really did want to be here today, but she's in Boston at the AAAS annual meeting today, where she's taking the helm as president of AAAS. So it'll be good having some UC leadership there at the helm of that organization too, especially in this time of uncertainty around federal policy and everything else. Let's see. So, I don't think I need to explain to the people here why we need to invest in climate action research. I'm sure that's all clear to everyone by being here in the room. I know you're all too familiar with the climate crisis and what it means for Californians. So I'll dive right into kind of how this whole initiative came to be, to give a little bit more background for today. So this entire effort is a result of a strategic collaboration between the UC research leadership, both at the system-wide and campus level, as well as the UC Managed National Labs, UC Agriculture and Natural Resources, and UC Health. So for going back a few years ago, for over a year and a half, UC research leadership met with state agencies and the governor's office to explore how to partner in addressing existential crises, such as the climate crisis and their impacts on California. And after several of these conversations, the Office of Research and Innovation hosted a UC Wildfire Symposium series. This was in the summer of 2021. Maybe some of you participated in that. And then on the heels of these, UC's research leadership came together and worked with UC State Government Relations to put together a set of proposals on climate resilient communities. And this proposal was then endorsed by UC President Drake and the Board of Regents, and it was ultimately submitted to the governor's office. And then the governor's office selected a few parts of it to be part of the governor's proposed budget in January of 2022. And then these were ultimately incorporated into the legislature's budget that summer. So the ultimate goal of this work is to fund action-oriented research or action-oriented solutions to address California's climate goals and needs, to ensure that all communities are prepared and resilient, and to help prevent future disasters. And so as part of that, all the work that's funded under this initiative is supposed to be aligned with California's climate action priorities. So this is an example of some of these from the climate adaptation strategy. And this, I think the fact, this was a really kind of unique opportunity, definitely for our office and for a lot of the people involved, because there was a pretty short time frame, and there was a real mission to have a tangible impact on California's communities that are most vulnerable to climate change, and through a few different avenues, including through innovation and entrepreneurship, which I'll talk about here. in a moment. So that's kind of how this came to be a few years ago. And so then what happened in the state budget in 2022 allocated, it was actually $185 million for to UC for climate action research. This was a really historic investment by the state. And so actually $100 million of that went to the UC Office of the President. So that's the funding that our team is managing. But a couple of the UC campuses had some direct allocations too. But I'll just focus on that central money. So out of that $100 million, that was split up into two programs, and these were two of those proposals that that had gone to the governor's office the previous year. So one of those was for Innovation and Entrepreneurship Awards, including the one here at UCLA, and then also across the state, these climate action seed and matching grants, which I'll talk about a little bit as well, because they're doing pretty interesting work. So first, the I&E Awards. So this was $15 million that went to 15 of the UC campuses and other UC locations, including UC National Labs, Agriculture, Natural Resources, UC Health, UC Natural Reserve System. So I know this is really small, but basically this is just this is like a snapshot of like some of the highlights of what these awards are doing. Actually, some of this is probably a bit dated because this is just some of taking out bits of what they were planning to do from their original proposals. Now we're about 2 years in, so we'll hear a lot more about what folks have been doing, especially here at UCLA. But these are a really exciting and diverse range of approaches. And the common theme is that all of these different groups across the state are trying to leverage both existing I&E infrastructure and create new I&E programs and infrastructure, all for climate action. So a lot of these are developing and commercializing technologies, but also training new entrepreneurs, new students, and young entrepreneurs who want to learn how to take entrepreneurial skills and put towards the climate crisis, and a whole range of different approaches. So you'll hear more about what some of the folks at UCLA have been doing here in just a little bit in the program. But what I'll do now is I'll just highlight a couple of examples from what some of the other projects are working on across the state. So, some of these projects are doing work related to really focus on like local or regional economic development, including the project at Riverside, at Irvine, and at San Diego. And like the project at San Diego has done some really cool stuff, like running this series of climate games as part of a public showcase to kind of generate more awareness around some of these issues and taking really novel approaches to leveraging some of their I&E infrastructure for the cause of climate action. There's also several of these projects are focused on training, so training new entrepreneurs, training students. So I'm highlighting two of the projects at the UC National Labs at Lawrence Livermore and Lawrence Berkeley that have supported a range of climate entrepreneurship fellows. A lot of these projects too are putting these funds to support the development of new technologies, doing proof of concept awards, and other technology development to get technologies ready for commercialization. And then, like I said before, there's like a lot of diverse approaches that these projects are taking. So, some of these projects looked at a more specific part of the climate crisis or a specific type of climate solution. So for example, the UC Natural Reserve System really focused on developing nature-based innovations for mitigating the impacts of climate change. The UC Agriculture Natural Resources focused on innovation focused on agricultural innovation related to sustainable agriculture and has done a lot of work around agricultural robotics. That's what the picture is there in the bottom right. And then UC San Francisco then focused specifically on public health dimensions, specifically the health effects of wildfire smoke and how they can leverage some of their I&E resources to develop and put into practice new innovations that'll help protect communities that are especially vulnerable to the health effects of wildfire smoke. So that's just a few examples at a really high level. I'll put the link to our website. It's in a slide later. Definitely encourage you to check these projects out. They're pretty interesting. So I mentioned that there was we had this $15 million investment in I&E projects. We also had this $83 million investment in what we called the Climate Action Seed and Matching Grants that were launched later that year in 2023. And this wasn't restricted to UC. This was a statewide program, and we received almost 500 initial applications, and they went through a really rigorous peer review process to actually select what was a relatively small number of those many applications to fund. And these are really exciting because they're just tackling a wide range of real world challenges related to the climate crisis, from wildfire risk to, leveraging traditional ecological knowledge to apply to land stewardship, to addressing community health issues, the health of firefighters, health of migrant farm workers, dealing with heat stress and air quality issues related to climate change, and kind of everything in between. And so these were awarded to about a dozen UC locations and CSU campuses across the state. But beyond that, all these projects together have over 130 community, tribal, industry, and public agency partners as part of their projects. So a lot of these are very community-based research programs. And once again, very action-oriented, actually trying to have tangible results for the Californians most vulnerable to climate change. And these are in every region of the state, 51 out of California's 58 counties. And then so there's several of these that are at UCLA. I know this is a little bit small, but so we have 5 of the projects are led by investigators at UCLA. There's a couple others that are collaborators on some of these projects too. And once again, working in really diverse areas. And then what was kind of cool too is that we got the Strategic Growth Council, which is part of the governor's office, came to us and said, we're really excited about what you're doing here, and we want to actually do even more to bolster the community engagement aspects of this work. So they put in another $250,000 specifically for community engagement. And what we did is selected 10 of those seed and matching projects that had the strongest community engagement programs, and then brought those projects together to help identify best practices for engaging communities around climate risks. We did a series of workshops last year. So I put the link here on the slide, but I would encourage you to take a look at that. There's some pretty cool resources there, and we're going to try to do more to actually package those up to make them useful for the future too. And then otherwise, what are we doing from our office? We're actually coming to the end of this climate action initiative this year. So we've been doing a lot of work to bring the researchers together from across the state to try to make those connections. And actually just last week we were in Sacramento, where we had about 100 of these researchers from across the state, both the I&E and the Seed and Matching projects, come together with folks from about 24 California state agencies, departments, councils, commissions, to really make those connections so people can build on this work in the future and do it in a way that's really supporting the state's climate action efforts. So we'll be continuing this work in the future, and so maybe that's all I'll say about that. And just want to thank you again for being here and for doing the work that you're doing. And I look forward to hearing about what folks have been doing over the last couple of years today. Thank you.